Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to Vidaghda Madhava Prabhu. Haribo.
Haribo.
Vidaghda Madhava Prabhu officially joined Boston in 1975. He helped build an altar in Sri Sri Radha Gopi Ballava, served for 2 years on the LA Diorama Museum project with
Bhardraj.
Bharadraj Prabhu. He served in New Vrindavan at the Bhakti Tirtha Govinda's
And
restaurant in Washington, D.C.
Govindas, yeah.
And then on the fruit carts in New York City.
Well, yeah, that was to get a ticket to India with Sarva.
And then you created a 12-unit diorama project for Bhavananda in the Long Building, which sadly the floods took it away.
That's correct. There's nothing to see anymore. But it was a beautiful project.
Oh, I would love to see
It
that.
was my most Krishna conscious time, actually. I didn't have time to eat or sleep. I was working with Indian artists. It was really, I had an 80-year-old painter who was doing the backgrounds. And I mean, it just was gorgeous. And then I took pictures of each exhibit.
That's
right?
what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Did you take pictures?
So then my main artist, who's a
Yeah.
really nice guy, his name is Pradipal.
Yeah.
He was in Kumartuli, near where Prabhupada lived at Sita Banerjee Lane. Prabhupada actually, he wrote a letter to Bhardraj in LA. I get an offer to get trained up by Jadharani on the painting side,
wow.
but I had been over to the diorama studio, and Bhardraj read a letter that he just got from Prabhupada that said, if this diorama project is successful, it will mean my preaching will be successful in the West. And that was good enough for me. So I just signed on for that for 2 years instead of trying to become a painter, you know.
You still have the pictures?
So what happened was, I mean, Prabhupada saw the wax museum in London.
Yeah.
And that's part of what, you know, and then it reminded him of Kumartuli and what the Bengalis are doing for Saraswati Puja, Durga Puja.
Yeah.
And so they're really good. And so he sent his best artist, Bhardraj, to India to learn how to do the dioramas. So there's something about three-dimensional forms. You know, paintings are nice, but they're two-dimensional. So, but three-dimensional forms, there's some reality to them. Anyway, I think that was part of it. But he took his best artist and he learned how to do it. And then he did the museum in LA, and I joined him in doing that. And with Lochan, who made the life-size Murtis, the first Murtis of Prabhupada. I mean, just these men are the most talented artists I've met in this lifetime. Yeah. And so I was really happy to work with them.
You also worked on Srila Prabhupada's Pushpa Samadhi for a short time.
Yeah, and actually I brought my artists or Pradipal over to that project. Yeah. And he ended up going on to do stuff. The Swami Narayan group flew him all over the world. Yeah. He did something.
Samadhi dioramas are amazing.
Yeah, he did something in Philadelphia that was good enough that the Disney people came up from Orlando and bought, after the exhibit, they bought everything and stored it down in Atlanta in Orlando because they were thinking of making cultural, world cultural presentations. And Bhardraj was also going to be part of that. Anyway, and he did these at Akshardham in Gandhinagar in Gujarat, life-size dioramas of like the gambling match, the Pandavas and the crews. And he did, he was so good. He's not with us anymore. But anyway, it's after I took pictures of all the exhibits, he asked me, I want to get a set of pictures. So I didn't have time to go get them printed. So I gave him the negatives, and he lost the negatives. So and of course photos they just degraded, with the humidity and everything. So I have nothing to show for that exhibit.
Oh, that's just tragic.
But that's but when Bardwaj came to learn the dioramas from the Krishna Nagar artists, the system is make them and break them.
Yeah,
So you don't get attached
yeah,
to what you just did.
yeah.
So
I've noticed
so my
artists do that.
it's the school of hard knocks. It was just,
Yeah.
just make them and break them. The flood so there's no record of it, so I can't bathe in the glory of doing that. But it was all these Indian artists. They were so good.
Well, this is not all. Prabhu is also part of a virtual temple started by Ramananda Prabhu, a three-time Honolulu temple president, that has been going for 15 years.
Yes.
He is also in rotation to give Bhagavatam class with Pushkar, Madan Mohan Prabhu, Urmila Mataji, Narahari, and other proper disciples
So
in Hawaii, Big Island.
yeah. So let me say something about that. So Ramananda, he's computer savvy and he's steady. He's really steady. So this has been going on for 15 years. So this is a virtual temple. So one of the questions that I was going to get in the interview was, my first experience when I came.
Yeah.
So I entered the Boston temple. I had met the devotees in the Caribbean before that, but I actually entered the temple in Boston. I was at the, front door, and Aja, the temple president, came out, and I had a backpack, and he plays this tape of Prabhupada on a morning walk in Mayapur, where Prabhupada's talking about a flashpoint, possible flashpoint between India and Pakistan. We're getting into it at the time, and it could be a flashpoint for World War III because the U.S. were backing Pakistan and Russia was invested in India. So they might have, it might have escalated. But it was just perfect for me. It was Krishna's trick. I was with these fruitarians in the Caribbean, and they're all about the crash. Babylon is burning. This is in the 70s, I mean, the world is on fire now. But even back then, that was their mentality, that they were just waiting for the flash on the horizon, watch it all go up in smoke, So, so then out of like hundreds of tapes that he could have played, he plays that one that gives me kind of a deja vu of what I just been doing in the tropics with these fruitarians. And so he looks at my backpack. My whole world fit into a backpack. He says, "Is that it?" And I go, "Yeah." And he said, that's just for now. That's going to change. You should try this. You should live with us. And if you don't like it, you can leave. He was smart. Yeah. And I understood. He was correct. So I entered the temple, and sometimes the Sunday feast kept me there, but
kept a lot of people there.
Yeah, just Dharma Setu was this 17-year-old high school dropout. Incredible person. Just such an unusual. He made his parents vegetarian. Anyway, he catches me going down the stairs on the Boston Temple and the landing. It's like 2 or 3 stories, and he offers obeisances. And when we get up, this got recorded in my heart. This is like it happened yesterday. He said something that just I'll never forget it. And I think he heard about my time with the fruitarians, and he thought it was about life extension. Some people get like into this thing, but they want to live longer or something. Yeah. So he gets up from the obeisances, and he looks at me and he goes, "Simply by offering obeisances, you can extend your life up to eternity." I go, that was too good. And the Boston Brahmins, I fell in love with Bhagavatam day one.
Yeah.
They knew the philosophy. That was the highlight of my day, was the morning class, the Bhagavatam class. And everybody loved Prabhupada, and it was contagious, and I got the bug, I just couldn't, there was no resistance to that. So
Prabhu, you're also an author. You wrote and published Krishna conscious children's books
Right.
that the ISKCON VBT is publishing and distributing now.
Right.
And you also have a 200-page illustrated Gita
Right.
ready to publish and promote interest in Srila Prabhupada's Gita and
Okay.
his other books.
Okay. So I was Nalini Kanta. He's an astrologer. I met him in the 70s in LA, and he did my chart. And he said he made told me the most useful thing an astrologer ever told me. I generally don't get too much into astrology. Prabhupada didn't encourage it too much, but it has its place. Anyway, Nalini's looking at my chart and he's going, Vidaghda, you have a Brahman's chart, but it's for training Sudras. I had no problem with that. You know, I related to that also. Some intellectuals, I drive them crazy. Okay. So I have my audience.
Yeah.
So it took me years to figure it out. But then I was thinking, Prabhupada says, everyone's born less than Sudra, right? So I was thinking, why don't I go after the kids? Why don't I give them something that I got in my late 20s?
Yeah.
I didn't get clear that I was a spirit soul until my late 20s. That's late. So I'm trying to give it to young children.
Yeah.
So rather than talk about the Gita right at the get-go, let me show you the book that Vrindavan ISKCON is now printing. They just printed.
This is the 200-page.
2000. This is not the 200-page. This is the first book that I published about 12 years ago.
I see.
And Diva Shakti actually helped me. She gave me she gave me $1,000 to print this book when she saw I had a mock-up.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to print the book.
Yeah.
And then, like some Russian. This is just not another children's book. Okay, there's something special about this because it's the old Sunday feast lecture. Okay, but it's done anyway. A Russian lady came into the gift store, Diva Shakti's gift store. She just went nuts and she bought 100 of them. So this is a popular book. Actually, somebody took pages from this book and they laminated them, and they're in the garden at the Bhaktivedanta Manor. I have Austrian devotees they have a handout, some kind of brochure they made with pictures from the book, and this is how they're distributing that in Hungary and different places. So anyway, I want to show you the book. It only takes
to the people.
Huh?
Definitely appeals to the.
No, it's a very popular book.
Yeah.
Irma was telling me she travels a lot. She was telling me devotees love this book.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been in print. So what happened is Rasa Bihari Lal, because there's so many people asking for it, they printed it. They didn't contact me. So I get to India 10 years later and it's on the shelf. They're selling it, right? So
surprise.
Yeah. So they've done that before. The VBT came after them hard and they stopped, they took them to court. So, but anyway, so this is an interesting book. It's a simple book to give 5-year-olds a chance to understand their soul in the body. So here we go. So her name is Namisha. I met her in Secunderabad. Her parents are devotees. They came to this. They came to the temple, and Sahadev gave me some studio space. And I, about 3 or 4 photo sessions, we got what we needed for the book. Her mother would come, and we would. Anyway, so her name is Namisha. We think we're going to learn something about Namisha, but actually, it turns on the first page. Have you ever wondered who you are? Okay. And then it goes into the old Sunday feast lecture. Well, I'm not my eyes, and I'm not my nose, and I'm not my mouth or my ear or my hand or my arm or my foot. So who am I? I'm me. So what if you ask a kid, who are you? I'm me.
Yeah.
Naturally they
Probably
point here.
say
So it's
her
just,
name.
it's kind of unconscious, but they're
Yeah.
pointing to the heart region where the soul is.
Yeah.
I'm me. So I'm the person inside this body. I'm the spirit
Inside
this body. I'm the spirit who moves this body.
Yeah.
I can walk and talk, dance if I want to. And though my body will change and grow, I will be the same spirit inside.
Yeah.
Saints in India say, the spirit soul is who I am. An eternal spirit soul, for spirit never dies. So many things can happen to my body, but my spirit cannot be harmed in any way. And I'm not the only spirit soul. My parents were also spirit souls. That's Sharma Ji and Sri Vidya, her parents. Saints say that every one of us is an eternal spirit soul.
The whole family there.
And that all living bodies have a spirit inside, from the huge elephant to the tiny ant. Saints in India say the spirit souls are the life of all that lives. Obama doesn't know this. Biden doesn't know this. Most Westerners don't know this.
Yeah.
This is all news. I'm giving it to 5-year-olds.
Disney
I'm trying to
doesn't know
get to
this.
them early so they don't get, confused by some crazy people, that are now bringing, it's crazy. They're bringing drag queens into kindergarten. It's nuts. America's gone completely off the deep end. Anyway, so I'm trying to get to them before,
Yeah.
So,
Definitely
but
need the savior.
I was going to end the book here, but
Yeah.
the Mayavadis would have a field day with it, right? So I got this from the devotional line, so they also say that the human life is for understanding we're a spirit soul, and for knowing we're part of God, and for learning more about God. For we are meant to serve and please God. I lose some of the audience there, but anyway, I don't care. And to be kind to other living souls. For if we learn how to love God, we can go to God at the end of this life, to the eternal spiritual world. And this
When you look at
is
that.
why God made us eternal like Him.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. Very, very simple.
A gateway to a yoga pit.
Oh, this is a Parikit's painting, but I took out the 4 Kumaras and Giant Vijay.
Yeah.
So that's
Inside, that's yoga pit, isn't it? Or is this?
it's just the Parikit's painting illuminated some, Vaikuntavasis flying around on airplanes and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it simple. It's like the gold, what do they call it? The Golden Gates or something. The Christians, they think it's heaven, right? Is the goal. But we know it's Vaikuntha or Golok. Anyway, this is a really simple book.
As you can see, we have here with us a very dedicated, decorated, talented soldier of Srila Prabhupada, Vidaghda Madhava Prabhu. Prabhu, let's go a little bit back. And I would like to ask you how you got connected with ISKCON.
I was telling, I first saw the devotees in 1969 in Cambridge Square. Saffron was probably my favorite color at the time. It was a street kirtan, and they're doing the Swami, the 2-step Swami, back and forth chanting the Maha Mantra.
Yeah.
And I had long hair. I'm like a hippie. I'm part of the 60s, and I'm walking past them, and then I just mirrored what the devotee was doing. I put my hands up in the air and I go, and I chanted the Maha Mantra, but I didn't want to know about the shaved head.
Yeah.
So I kept going, so I didn't talk to anybody. So then something unfortunate happened. I was on a bus. I was living probably blocks away from where the temple was in Brighton, where Bhardraj, Jadharani, and Murlidhar were doing paintings for Prabhupada's original Gita. If I saw that, if I went over and saw that, that would have been it. From childhood, I wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
I know that was it for me. I
Yeah.
didn't have that much going. But no, what happens is I'm on a bus with my university girlfriend, and two devotees get on the bus, and one of them's really young and he's really enthusiastic, and the other one's, he's a little more seasoned, he's a little more reserved. He's trying to reel the kid in, but the kid's been turned on. It's almost like he got turned on to smoking dope or something, but he was like really kind of naive the way he was presenting himself. And unfortunately, I said something. I can't even remember what it was, but it was good enough to get a laugh on the bus. So I got a laugh at the expense of this young devotee.
Yeah.
I didn't get to speak to a devotee for 3 or 4 years on account of that. That was bad. So, okay, Vaishnava Aparad. Okay, Krishna, you'll get away with offenses to Krishna. We've been doing it for millions of lifetimes. And you'll get away with offenses to Lord Chaitanya and Gaur Nitai, But Krishna takes offenses to his devotees very seriously. You don't get away with that. That's why it's the first offense against the holy name, to blaspheme. It doesn't say pure devotees. It just says anyone who's dedicated their life. Anyone who's done that, it's hands off. And that includes Prabhupada's godbrothers. Nobody, gets a pass here.
Yeah.
You think you know something, or you think you haven't even met the person, and you're making a judgment call because you heard something.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So that stuff has to stop. So then I was in Puerto Rico, and then this devotee comes to this hippie farm that I'm on. I ate nothing but fruit with these two fruitarians for a year, and then I end up on this hippie farm. And so Lalit Prasad shows up.
Yeah.
And this farm is 100 acres. It was traded for a yacht. Andy Aponte and Kuko, and they were really cool guys at the farm. The devotees had been there. They said if they chant Hare Krishna while they plant the vegetables, that they'll get more. So it was
nutrition.
Yeah, that was good. Or they'll get more, quantity.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm at this farm, and this devotee, Lalit Prasad, he was preaching with Hanuman Swami in South America, in Colombia, or Venezuela or whatever, and he shows up. And he does numerology, and he reads people's palms. The hippies, they nicknamed him Louis the Bandit. And he was Puerto Rican. It was just in good humor. Anyway, this farm had world-class mangoes from all over the world. I mean, it was just amazing. Must have, any direction, any day of the year, you could have a 100-pound potato sack and fill it with something. So I'm on my way up the zigzag trail above the house to get to this umbrella of an avocado tree that has thousands of avocados, right? So I'm on my way to get some avocados. And this devotee starts playing these symbols in the house.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were, but I'm halfway up the hillside, and I heard that sound go farther than any sound. It was cutting through the ether.
Yeah.
Sound travels on ether.
Yeah.
So it was cutting through the ether out to the ionosphere. I mean, I'm serious. And my senses were a little clean at the time, because I'd done all the fruit fasting and all that stuff. So I just abandoned my mission to get the avocados. I'm halfway up the hill, but I'm finding out what this guy has. And what he has is pure bell metal cartels. So I said, what are those? He said, they're pure bell metal cartels. And immediately my mind is, I have to go, they're from India. Oh, okay, I have to go to India. I didn't say it, but my mind is going, you have to go to India to get these, get a pair of these.
Yeah.
That was like how affected I was. So I get to India. I didn't get to India until after Prabhupada left. It was in 1980 something. These aren't available. But I did find an old pair in and I did, you know, they practically play themselves. I should have a brass set so you
To
can
compare.
see, yeah, so that you can compare, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of searching, and I finally found a pair, and so I have a reference. So I'm going to the Barcelona and they have stacks, you know, and none of them even come close because they've changed the formula. It's brass. It's not a mix. It's not like they've diluted. Like there's some devotees that, oh, I'm selling pure bell metal cartels. Well, I can tell you, no, not happening, because you can't mix the brass with the pure bell metal. I just found that out from the wholesaler. But anyway, I gave the wholesaler. I connected him to Vamsi Gopinath at the Sankirtan office, and so now they're going to be available at here, and I'm going to also help Saranga Thakur at Vrindavan. I'm going to get. I have three sizes they have, because now this is the quality now with the wholesaler. But he's doing a special favor for me. He's going to make me the absolute pure bell metal cartels, five of them. These aren't bad.
Not bad.
No, not bad at all. So now these are going to be available to the devotees. I'm trying to bring them back. So the wholesaler it took me a long time to find, 15, 20 years to find. He used to have 8 or 10 shops that would make these hammered cartels. So they're hammered cartels. Okay, they're give me a close up here. Okay, you see the marks on, you know, that's how you can tell they're handmade. Okay. Okay.
Those marks.
So that's and after they've been played for a long time, you know, they get smooth.
Nowadays they come smooth.
Yeah, but they're cast.
Yeah.
So they're not hammered. So Prabhupada had a disciple. I met a disciple. I wrote something online and somebody contacted me, and he said, Prabhupada sent me to the market to get these bell metal cartels. And he even he told me a shop to go to, and then he said he told me to have him put silver. And if you go online and you look at Wikipedia and you go to pure bell metal and you find out it's 7 kgs copper to 2 kgs, you know, tin or whatever the other. The Russians, they make bells out of this in Europe, and the Russians, they add silver for resonance for the longer ring.
The church.
Okay? Yeah, for the big bells.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada even had silver put into these cartels. So this devotee told me when he brought him back to Prabhupada in the Lotus building in his room, and Prabhupada's playing the cartels, he's going, these hammered cartels are the only cartels worth anything. Like, in other words, the other ones are junk. And that we see actually now, if you go to the Mangal Artik at Panchatattva.
Barely hear it.
No, they only allow one devotee to play one small cartel. That's where we're at with cartels. So the mridungas, they've been nicely maintained over the years. We still have really good mridungas, but the cartels, we've lost them. So I'm trying to bring them back. And now when you go to the kirtans in Mayapur, they're handing out, or they're using tambourines, you know? They're not even like dealing with, you know what I mean?
They're branching out.
This is no, but this is not Mahaprabhu's kirtan. Original kirtan is mridanga and kartals. And then there's another one, a ganta. It's a solid gong. You play it with a wooden mallet, not metal. That's too harsh. Metal on metal. You play it with a wooden mallet. I have this in Hawaii. Gong. Gong. It's called a ganta. It sounds like a bell. They use it in the schools.
To ring the.
Yeah. So it sounds like a bell, and that I play that in kirtans. In you know.
We play. We have it here.
Yeah,
we
but
have that here.
The hollow gong, the wampers. If they're not muted, if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, they're kirtan killers. So I have to add this. Kirtan 101. Here it is. It's the holy name. It's all about the holy name. Now that you have amplification, I'm not in favor of amplification because a lot of it's distorted, especially the trumpet speakers. It's like I've learned to hate technology in India. I just can't. I wear earplugs, in India because there's so much noise pollution.
Well,
Horrible.
a lot of it is the mosques.
Yeah, but you go to Yamat also. They just amplify it. It's so they amp it up until it's distorting, and then it's trumpet speakers. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I'm not into amplification, but if it wasn't amplified, so Prabhupada's upstairs in the Lotus Building. Here's another story, and they're having a kirtan in the in the lower floor, and Prabhupada says, clang 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 clang. This isn't kirtan, so it's the holy name. That's supposed to be in the foreground, and everything is in support of the name.
Exactly.
You don't have somebody hot dogging it on a mridanga, jamming. You don't jam with the holy name.
Yeah.
You don't draw attention to yourself, and then blam, 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 and you can't hear the chanting. That's crazy. So that's Kirtan 101, kids, get it,
Yeah, especially the youth, they really, the Kirtan really appeals to them.
Right.
And
but some of them are really good. Maya, what is it? There's kirtaniyas. There's really talented devotees. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the musical devotees, a lot of times they get it right.
Yeah. So the musical instruments should always be a bit softer than the holy name, the singer, and it should support the singer. That's Kirtan 101.
That's right. Kirtan 101.
Very, very fascinating. Actually, this is also when I was small. I was taught this, and therefore, when I see it in the temples or anybody else, one of my friends, I tell them this.
Right.
Don't go louder than the singer.
Right.
This is very important.
Even Prabhupada restricted Vishnu Jana Swami. He was so good on the harmonium that he was restricted not to do that in front of the deities.
Yeah.
So, because the adoration that's supposed to go to the name goes to the person. If he's too good, you're just locked in. And he's getting the
becomes a
adoration.
Performance.
Right, exactly. So it's supposed to be the name and not the performer that's getting the attention.
Prabhu, you shared a few stories of Srila Prabhupada with us just now, and I'm really intrigued to hear if you had any personal association with Srila Prabhupada.
Well, I had one encounter. It was at the first Rath Yatra in New York on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
Prabhupada wasn't feeling well. So anyway, I was looking for the best kirtan, 3 carts. Jayananda had them so that they could crank them down for the wires in Fifth Avenue. And I tell you, it was an amazing event. The people in high-rise office buildings were all at the windows. Nobody had seen anything like, as Lalit Prasad said, all the big men, the successful men, they when they are finally successful, they drive their big limo, the big cars down Fifth Avenue, right?
Yeah.
And here comes Jagannath in the biggest car of them all, right? And so everybody's at the windows, and the Christians are some of the Christians are there, trying to make some noise about, and one of them had a trumpet speaker, telling, we're of the devil or something. And Mahabhuti, he went and got a cup of water from a vendor, and he just poured it into the the trumpet speaker and shorted him out. Anyway, it was a great event. So I'm going back and forth.
Yeah.
And there's 3 kirtans in front of each cart. So I settled in with Bhardraj because I really like his chanting. And so we're in front of Subhadra's cart. I didn't notice that they had a Vyasa sign for Prabhupada on the cart. So then Prabhupada, we already started the parade. We're not quite halfway down Fifth Avenue, and Prabhupada's coming through the crowd, and then he sits down on the Vyasa sign, on the cart. Well, I had been serving Prabhupada for like 7 or 8 months or something. At that point, this is the first time I've seen him, and so I'm jumping, like I'm just jumping, and I'm getting airtime, like Michael Jordan airtime. I'm getting hang time
Yeah.
at the peak of the jump.
Yeah.
That's like, and Prabhupada looks out into the crowd, and at that time, I was kind of cynical. I was always questioning things with my mind. So there's so many devotees, thousands of devotees had flown in for that, and Prabhupada's looking out into the crowd, but I could feel his gaze. I knew he was looking at me, and he had this kind of interesting. Devotees, they describe their experience like Prabhupada saw through me or something or whatever. But the experience I had was Prabhupada's looking at me, and he's not looking at my body, he's looking at something else. And it's kind of like, and there's this kind of interested expression on his face. And I'm like,
it's probably
what?
assessing your previous life.
Yeah, what is he looking at? So that was so they say that an 11th of a second's good enough, I don't know where somebody's got the stopwatch, they got 11th of a second. I don't know how they came up with that. But it was something like that. I mean, I got some experience like that with Prabhupada. We were supposed to get him in Boston. We're going to go up to the 11th floor in the Manhattan building, and we're going to get a chance to interact or ask a question or something. And then Ajit tells us, look, Prabhupada's agreed to come to Boston. We're a small group. So, wow, we get Prabhupada for a few days, and it was a small group. Are you kidding? Because it's so crowded in New York, right? So Prabhupada went to Montreal, and then he was supposed to come to see us. And then Tejas sent Prabhupada a telegram saying that Indira Gandhi had agreed to meet him. And so he changed up. He went, instead of coming to Boston, he went from Paris to Delhi to ask for longer visas for his disciples coming to India. So we missed him. Anyway, so I didn't get to ask Prabhupada a question. But there's the Vapu and the Vani. Exactly. And Prabhupada's always emphasized the Vani. Yeah. And so I can hardly get through a day without bathing in the Bhaktivedanta purports of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'm like, I'm just amazed. It's a living thing. It's not some book that's dated. It talks to you now, you know, and it can affect your life. And that's my relationship with Prabhupada.
How did Srila Prabhupada's Vani help you in your life, in your ups and downs?
If you really, really connect with those purports in Srimad Bhagavatam, you become indifferent to the negative side of things, because there's always going to be that, like there was that famous moment where some scholar mentioned to Prabhupada something about his disciples, but they're in the shower, so everybody's in the shower. So you live closely together with people, and there's going to be some friction. So that thing about the rocks in the bag, and then the sharp edges get blunted, smoothed out. So there's a process of purification. So a lot of us were still holding on to some egoism, some misidentification, some anartha, something we shouldn't, and so that's gonna
erode away.
That's gonna go away after some time if you're in a good association. The main thing is you get into association with like-minded devotees. That's really what you want to do. You don't want to bang heads. Yeah. You don't want to fight. I don't fight. If somebody has a different point of view, I offer my respects from a distance. That's it. and then I just associate with devotees that
Yeah.
enliven me. That's all.
That's a very good advice for us, isn't it? Associate with right-minded people.
Right,
And
right.
don't bang
That
heads.
Rupa Goswami says that.
Yeah.
And he says, and your faith will wax strong. So
Yeah.
you bang heads and you get weaker. It
Mm.
makes you weaker. Doesn't make you stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, they say sometimes devotees quote the thing about the controversies, and but if you there's three kinds of conversations, and so if you can do the one where you're only interested in the truth, you're not interested in just winning, or you don't care what the other person. You're just trying to, you know. If you're actually in a real discussion with somebody in a sattvic mood, you can do that. But if you're just trying to overpower the person and you don't care what they think and you're just trying to make your idea prevail, that's Raja.
You're just trying to win.
That's crazy. That's not not a good way to spend your time.
Yeah. It affects you actually.
It does.
Yeah. Prabhu, you are an author. You showed us your first book. You're also working on a
I have
200.
another one. I have another one. This is my second one. This is Mugrari, just very close to the way Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana Goswami. So it's I approached it like a movie, and so I got actors. Again, Sahadev gave me some studio space, so I green screened the actors.
Yeah.
And then I dropped in backgrounds in Photoshop.
Wow.
I did this book, 48-page, full color, children's book, start to finish, 2.5 months. 2.5 months, one person.
Yeah.
I did this. So I did it photographically. So anyway, this is available from ISKCON Vrindavan. And this guy, he was from Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
He didn't speak English. He didn't speak Hindi. I had to pick him up at the train station, and I took him to the studio. And then the reason I got him is because I couldn't get my makeup artist to make a beard, a believable beard, and he had a beard.
Yeah.
So that's a wig.
That's believable.
He's a devotee. He's a Kirtaniya. He's a nice devotee. But through sign language, I'm trying to get him. Okay, I need you angry. I gotta get an angry look, right?
Yeah.
Or I need this kind of look, and it wasn't working. But luckily for me, my makeup artist was Tamil, and he spoke English. Oh. And he starts coaching him, and I got an Oscar performance. Look at that expression.
Yeah. Very well done.
Yeah. So anyway,
you also have a 200-page illustration of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. So that's a 10-year project. So this is what I've been doing. I just got a great quote from Thompson Press. I'm about to see them tomorrow, Monday, in Delhi. And so, I'm looking forward to that. So it's full color. I get a great quote at the front end from a Michigan printer that makes catalogs. I'm printing it like a catalog. So it's over 200 pages, full color.
Illustrations.
Yeah, with illustrations all the way through. And so I'm dealing with the Bhagavad Gita like in themes.
Yeah.
So all the verses about the soul, I have them all together.
Yeah.
And then I'm explaining the soul. And then, the verses about changing bodies. And so I'm organizing it in themes. So the title is The Most Secret of All Secrets. Raja Vidya Raja Guyam.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is. It's an open secret, but it's a secret because mostly it's a secret because people aren't interested.
Yeah.
They have no interest. And they don't have the sukriti to approach that book with the humility that you need to approach it with.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing this for middle schoolers.
That's the target audience.
Yeah, that's a target because it's lust and death, and so you don't do that with a child. So, but I'm trying to get to these young 12, 13, if they're smart, and especially devotee kids, and they're not inclined to study.
Yeah.
But I'm making it easy. I'm giving them easy access. So it's a visual presentation. It's really easy. anyway, I hope.
You're one of the few devotees I have met. I know some Mayapur locals who are similar age of mine. They're investing in the youth and targeting this
No, that's
audience.
the new generation.
Yeah,
The children, you can change a culture in one generation
that's true.
by educating the children.
Yeah,
So the children is so important. Abhiram makes an interesting point,
yeah,
and he's saying that traditionally Gurukulas, it's
yeah,
the Brahmin and the wife of the Brahmin.
yeah,
And the reason for that is the wife of the Brahmin, she's like the mother.
yeah,
And she's offering, not just nurturing, but she's offering protection to the boys. And that opens them up for learning.
yeah,
That opens them up.
yeah.
So that's a traditional Gurukula. We've had problems with Gurukulas. But you know the Madhvas, you know what they do? They have grandparent age teachers. They don't have young
Yeah,
people teaching the boys.
yeah,
They have older, more mature. You know, they're settled
yeah.
mentally. They're not Raja, whatever. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the way the Madhvas do it.
Well, Prabhu, you're doing a wonderful service, and it's really, really inspiring. Um, Lastly, if you could share some advice to our audience
About
that what inspires you to keep going in Krishna consciousness, and how can we be inspired to keep going as well?
I could answer that question different ways, but it goes like this. At a certain point, you reach a layer where you understand that Krishna consciousness is real. Like I remember there was a god brother who came to me many years ago in California, and he goes, Vidaghda, what if the rishis just made all this stuff up, you know? And I said, I don't want to give his name, but I said, it's time to bring out your Bhagavad Gita. You know, it's time to go back to your Bhagavad Gita because
Yeah.
the foundation for this is solid. We're spirit souls. We survive the death of the body. We've been doing it for lifetimes. We're meant to become God conscious. We're meant to become Krishna conscious. That's, you've reached the the pinnacle of knowledge. This is, there's no higher knowledge than that. That you're meant to progress towards the spiritual world. There's no higher knowledge. So don't worry about what anybody's doing. Don't worry about if somebody fell down or this thing or that thing. Just keep your eye on the goal. This is real. And if you're sincere and you have good association, you'll get through. Whatever doesn't matter what happens, the society, the world, I mean, it's on fire right now. It's just so crazy. And so you can get through all that. Just maintain your focus to be Krishna conscious. Try to be sincere, as sincere as you can. Try to please Guru, and don't mind your own business. You know, like, don't worry about other people. Somebody, let's see, what do you do? Somebody had a computer and he set up when you hit the wrong thing, you get a beep. You get this. The computer makes a sound.
Yeah.
And he had a little recording that went. Jesus, I can't remember. Krishna. Anyway, be focused on your own progress. Don't worry about don't worry about getting yourself involved in somebody else's business. You know, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Right.
That is such a practical advice and really touched my heart that if any time you're feeling uh, confused or you're questioning whether even your existence or anything, having like a crisis at any age, go back to the basics, open the Bhagavad Gita, and everything is there. Stay in good association,
Like-minded
people.
Yeah. And yeah, and you
Don't worry about what's going on in the world.
don't worry about and don't worry about what other even some devotees are doing. Don't get
Caught up in all
yeah,
these
don't get caught up in
gossips
all
and
that.
yeah,
Yeah, no
it's
need.
unnecessary.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel the same way.
yeah.
Prabhu, it was a wonderful experience to share this space with you and spend some quality time with you. You are such a talented, dedicated servant of Srila Prabhupada, a soldier in his mission. I hope and wish you all the best in your future ventures.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Vidaghda Madhava Prabhu.
Very well.
Haribo.
Very well.